Controversial topic. Unspoken truth. There are many controversial topics that are not spoken in church buildings, and there are many ungodly reasons why. Here are a few. For the fear of losing paying customers and offending important friends. Oops. Once again, I have spoken another one of my many unspoken taboos, which is not the topic of this briefing, yet since it's out in the open, I will simply state, just as the true word of the Bible, God's word, which speaks the good and bad of human nature and life situations, men of God should not be afraid to speak the true truth for fear of losing tithes and offerings, congregants, and fake friends. Real believers. Maybe not at first, but real believers and true friends will love you for telling them the truth. Simply put, God requires His children to speak the truth, and His children love the true truth. This is one of the ways to find out if a person is a real believer or not, and that is by telling them the true truth. Try the spirits and see if they are of God. Not controversial to God. To man, it may be controversial, but not to God. He meant what He said and said what He meant. Period. Humans are strange creatures, and therefore we need to know why we want to think the way we think, and why we do what we really don't want to do. Controversial for many ungodly reasons, mainly because people don't want to see or hear the true truth. Why? Many feel convicted and are possibly guilty, and then they become self-condemning. Our spirit knows the truth. Therefore, you can be sure that your sin will find you out. Instead, we need to contritely come to God and confess our wrongdoing, our sin, and allow God to forgive us and to cleanse us. The unspoken topic. Therefore, let's speak man to man and brother to brother about the true truth of the Bible. No more lying to ourselves and allowing others to lie to us. Lies are easily believed. Divorce is a good example of deception, and one which was spoken of briefly on the August blog of our brother's keeper. How can this be? How can a man not be aware of their subconscious mind and premeditated thought? Or how can an intentional agreement be made between a man and a woman before marriage, making divorce an option? God hates divorce. Let us gather some vital pieces of the puzzle and see if we can understand the true truth of this godly picture more clearly, as well as what is a holy marriage between a man and a woman. First off, Malachi spoke of the unfaithful and adulterous Jewish people. According to Malachi 2:10-16, and read Luke 16-8 to find out what Yeshua said about divorce. For Yah, our God, says, I hate putting a wife away. Divorce. Marriage violation. Deuteronomy 22:13-30. Read it. Divorce is a violation. He must not divorce her. Verse 19. He can never divorce her. Verse 29. Israel, the adulteress. It was a marriage covenant, a vow and a promise, yet Israel proved to be unfaithful, committing adultery, physically and spiritually, with the pagan gods of other nations. There's a whole lot of verses. There are many more verses than that. Yet God would not divorce her. God proved Himself to be faithful and true to an unfaithful wife, and would not put her away. Yet century after century, she played the prostitute, but God always made a way for her to come back to Him. Hosea speaks on this topic. Yahweh commanded Hosea to marry an unfaithful and adulterous wife to show what God, was going through with Israel. Read the book of Hosea. Yahweh loved Israel, Judah, and forgave her time and time again. God's love never ends. Though after her turning away from God and committing adultery for so long and so many times with so many other pagan gods, and without the desire to change, Yah was provoked to jealous anger, and her time was up. He reluctantly put her away and turned to other people, provoking Israel to jealousy. The church, the new bride, was to be a worldwide nation of spirit-filled people and a new covenant, with the faith of Abraham grafted into the vine and circumcised of the heart, spiritual Israel. The Moses dilemma. Back on topic. This is the passage men and women use when they selfishly want to get divorced. Read the 4 verses. It's not even concerning adultery. Remember, committing adultery was a death sentence. Whoever committed adultery was put to death. Yeshua stated that if a man divorces his wife and marries another woman, he commits adultery, unless his first wife was unfaithful. So the husband must be sure his wife was unfaithful and not just lying because he wants to trade him. And the wife is not to become unfaithful. It was a death sentence for both of these situations. As wise, spirit-filled husbands and with loving kindness, tender mercy, and forgiveness, there should not be any unfaithfulness or even a thought of divorce. Reading from the book of Mark 10:2-9. The Pharisees said Moses permitted the certificate of divorcement. And Yeshua said it was because of the hardness, stubbornness of your hearts that he wrote that precept. But from the beginning of the creation, it was not so. Marriage is a holy covenant between a man and a woman unto God, and is a representation of the holy and heavenly marriage of the bridegroom Yeshua and the church bride. What God has joined together, let no man separate. Yah is the one who joins two to become one in marriage. If it is of God, you will not be unequally yoked. Continue to read about marriage. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. In conclusion, brothers, we all know women. They are unique, and thank God they are different than us. Yet they need a real man, a good and godly husband. If you are married, good, stay married. If you want to get married, please wait on God for the right woman. Women can be trying, but if we change our perspective and know that God knows what he's doing, then we will come to understand and mature spiritually. As a man, be patient with your woman, with the same patience God has with you. Women just do what they're supposed to do. Keep us on our toes and make our lives exciting. Yet remember, we are the man accountable to the Almighty Father. Sincerely, Sir and George. Shalom.